Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of PhotoBiz Live. This is Danny from the PhotoBiz team, and today we're going to be joined by Andy from our PhotoBiz Passionate Support team. Andy's been working with the Passionate Support team for, I think, about 2.5 years now, and he is probably one of the agents you've called in and spoken to, or you may have spoken to myself or any of the other members here on the support team. So Andy has a lot of knowledge on our system, and he's going to be going over how you can keep up with your website in advance, basically using your downtime to eliminate all that costful time that you would be spending in the future developing things for your website, like creating different color schemes for different seasons, scheduling blog posts, things like that. So he'll be talking more about that today. So in addition to getting the opportunity to learn from Andy in our webinar, we're going to have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar, which I'm going to moderate with him. Either one of us will be reading off your questions, which you can submit using the chat tool, and they're going to be assigned after the presentation is over. You guys can also join in on the discussion on Twitter by using the hashtag PhotoBizLive. So if at any point during today's webinar you have any difficulty hearing the speaker or seeing the slides, just use the comment box and message us, and we're going to do our best to troubleshoot any kind of issues that you may be experiencing. I will say this, if you are in here now and you can hear me loud and clear, that's awesome. You can leave us a comment. If you do notice audio drop or a slide seems to be frozen, more than likely something did mess up, and if it did happen, I would recommend the quickest way to troubleshoot it is just to close out, go to webinar, and just click the button and join right back in. So you guys should be able to see the slide that we're sharing, and if you have if you joined before the webinar started, you may have had it minimized, which means you just need to click on the little blue or orange wheel, looks like a flower, and that is your GoToWebinar control panel, and it will load up our screen that we are sharing, which you guys can then adjust to fit your screen or view in full mode. So, with that being said, I'm going to turn things over to Andy and let him get started on today's session.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Danny said, I am Andy R. from the Passionate Support team here. And today we've got what's going to be a relatively short webinar. We're going to cover a lot of theory today, so please stick around for the Q&A session afterwards. If you have any questions, I will be happy to go over them, whether it's why we're doing something or how to do it. We can cover all of this. All right, so as Danny said, today we're going to be covering keeping up with your website, and the idea here is to use any downtime that you have during your year to prepare your website for the rest of the year so that you can make updates and changes during your busiest seasons without having to devote a lot of time to it. So what we're doing is we're making the most of the downtime. We are setting up fresh looks for our websites. We're planning out sales, coupons, and specials that we want to run during the year, and we're driving new traffic to the site. And why are we doing this? Obviously, the goal here is to make your life easier when dealing with your website. This lets you work on your website when you have time, not just when you want to make the changes. It helps you market for the year. If you know that you want to run several specials during the year, go ahead and set them up ahead of time. That way you don't have to worry about them. It's a good way to increase traffic during your busy seasons without devoting a lot of time, because who doesn't like to see new and updated pictures and websites? And it can be done with most of the PhotoBiz product line. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, this covers everything. Okay, what it works with. Both versions of our portfolio sites, the Flash Plus and the HTML5. If you're an old client and you just have the HTML, still works with that. Our business sites, our store, our blog, and our client proofing. Now, obviously, the way we do this with the store and with the blog is going to be different than the portfolio sites, but we're going to try and cover everything today. Okay, what kind of changes? It's the same idea across the board. It's just different ways to implement it. These can be things like seasonal color changes. If you want to have a spring look, a summer look, a fall look, and a winter look, we can do that very easily with custom color schemes and changeable templates. If you want to do holiday sales, we're coming up to Valentine's Day. If you want to plan out a Valentine's Day sale, if you want to have an Arbor Day sale, you can easily do this. For photographers who shoot a lot of different types, this can be really useful for targeting your market segments. If during the spring you're going for engagements, then in the spring we feature engagement work. If we're looking for weddings in the summer, then we switch a few galleries, change a color scheme and a template, and we have a brand new website for a brand new market. If you use the featured marketing tactic, this is something that several of us here suggest, using one or two of your clients as your featured clients for a period of time, 2 to 3 months usually. This is a good way to plan those featured segments out ahead of time. Okay, changing with the weather. The idea behind this was seasonal. If you want to having a look for spring that's different from your fall look. You can have up to 10 custom color schemes, and this is across the board, portfolio sites, business sites, stores. So you can set these up ahead of time. They all have a copy button. So if you want to just make some minor changes, you can start with your basic template, your basic color scheme rather, and make a copy of it and go in and make those minor variations. One nifty trick, this is specifically to the portfolio sites, you can customize a color scheme from any template and use it on another template as long as they're in the same family, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. There's a rename function with the color schemes that is incredibly useful. What this is good for is for telling yourself what the color scheme does and telling yourself what template you wanted to use with it. You can also upload a new background, and this is something that's very quick and easy. You just go into your background settings and upload a new one. So now that we've talked about this, let's take a look at the control panel and how we would set these up. What we're looking at here is my demo account. This is obviously the color picker for a Flash Plus control panel. So if your product looks slightly different, that's okay. They all function the same way. They always have a customized button here. And so what you're looking at now is the Bordeaux template with its 4 base color schemes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Aquitaine that we're using and we're going to customize it. Now, whenever we click this customize button, it creates a copy, and the copy is denoted by the name parentheses copy. Now, we haven't set our template to this color scheme. We're only making this we're setting this up in advance. So this is going to be my spring color scheme, and I know that in the spring, I want to use my Manhattan template. So I'm going to name this spring, and then I'm going to add a dash and then a template name. And then I'm going to click the rename button. And as you may see this pop up, you may not. It just tells me that I've successfully renamed my color scheme. So now I have a name for this color scheme that tells me when I want to use it and what template it goes with. Now, updating the color scheme is pretty standard. You go to the section you want to change. You can either click on the square or type in the hex code. There is a wonderful video tutorial that covers how to do this, or if you're not familiar, you can always call our passionate support team and they will go over what changes what and how to set all of this up. So now we're going to close this out, and now we have our color schemes again, except this time we have our custom color schemes at the bottom. Now, to set a custom color scheme, we still have to click on the color scheme name and click Save Your Selections. This will tell you that it's been updated successfully. And this means that our color scheme is now our custom. Obviously, as I said, we have this copy button here. If we want to click the copy button, we now have Spring-Manhattan copy. So we only want to change the website background, and we want to go from, in this case, we'll go from a light off-white to a pure black. And then we click Update. So now we have a brand new color scheme. It's a minor variation, but let's say this is our summer color scheme. Again, we're going to use our rename function at the very top to name this Summer Manhattan. And that just tells me that when I'm looking in my control panel and it's 4 months down the line and I've forgotten what I did, I have a color scheme name that tells me exactly what template I want to use and exactly when I use this color scheme. Just very quickly, I'm going to go through the other products and show you where these are. The store, the blog, and the biz site, because they share a control panel, we only have to do this once for any of these products that you own. I'm going to slow down a little bit, let everyone catch up. Okay, so in here, this covers, again, the business sites, the store, and the blog. We go to the Site Builder tab, and we go into the Color Picker section. Now, you'll notice that with these 3 products, we have one group of color schemes. That's because in these, each template does not have a specific color scheme. We simply have a list of color schemes. Now, down at the bottom, you can see that I've already made several custom color schemes, including a spring colors and a fall colors. So this is something that you can do. Obviously, you can have several of these set up ready whenever you want to use them. And again, changing them is as simple as clicking the button and then clicking Save Changes. So, moving on, doing sales. If you plan out your sales for the year, or if you want to and need something to get you started, using the PhotoBiz store, coupons and campaigns both allow you to set starting and ending dates in the future. So things we can do with the store. We can have coupons for all occasions. We can have sales. They can be day specific. They can be month specific. They can be whenever you feel like having a sale. You can also adjust your prices through the year by using multiple price lists. Since this is very specific to the store, I'm going to go ahead and head over there, and we're going to take a look at how all of this is set up. All right, again, this is store specific, so we'll be under the store tab, and all of this, the coupons and the sales are done under the discounts tab. So let's look at coupons first. So under discounts, we'll click on coupon, and then we'll click add discount. Now, we've got a lot of options here. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to go with the first, which is just a percentage off. All right, now the discount code, this is what they actually type in. This is something that will be seen by your clients, so you want to make sure that, one, it's easy to type in and share, and two, it doesn't give away too much. So for this discount code, let's assume I'm having a Valentine's Day sale. So my coupon code will be Valentine. Now, I'm using all caps. The system caps and lowercase are fine, so don't be worried about confusing your customers like that. This description field, this is something that is only seen by you through your control panel. So this can be, for the description of this, I want to tell myself that it is active, let's say February 3rd. And that's just a note to myself to let me know when I set this coupon to be active. Here in the begin date, you'll notice that it automatically sets today's date as the starting date. Obviously, we can go forwards and backwards. There's not much need to post date one, but if we want it to start in February 3rd, 2013, we tell it then. In the expiration date, obviously, let's say we want to be really nice and run this special all the way through the 23rd. In our max number of uses, just set a very high number, or if you want to have a limited sale, you say want the first 20 customers. We set it to 20 uses. The system will accept this code 20 times. Anyone beyond that 20th time will be told that it has expired. Obviously, discount amount, minimum order, maximum order, these are the basis of the coupon. Let's say they get a 15% discount so long as they order $150 of merchandise. Now, I did not set a maximum. Because I didn't set a maximum, that means that whatever they buy, using this code, they'll get a 15% discount on. Now, if you want to limit the amount that the coupon is worth, you can set a maximum value. Now, we've set this up ahead of time. I don't have to do anything beyond announce this sale, and it is ready on February 3rd. So this is these are coupons a little bit further. If you don't want to have to do a coupon code specifically, if you just want to run a sale, we use the campaign feature. We're going to see a very, very similar setup. Campaign name. This is purely for your references, so this is Valentine's Day sale. Description. We want to tell ourselves what kind of sales we're setting up. Again, when we're planning things out for the year, this is a really good way to know exactly what we're doing at what time. For this, our description is going to be 15% off all purchases. So now I know that while this sale is active, I'm knocking 15% off of my prices. So again, let's do February 3rd to February 23rd in our beginning and expirations, and our discount amount, obviously, 15%. Now, with campaigns, you can specify what is actually on sale to about the same extent with a coupon. We can just create more options. Now, since in our example we're doing a 15% across the board, I'm going to leave this set to any item. If I had specific categories, like only canvases are 15% off, or only a 20 by 30 framed canvas is for sale during this time, we can set that with the specific category or specific items options. Okay, so now it's created. Now we have our campaign. Let's look at adding a second. Let's say we want to have a summer blast sale, and this is going to be 10% off all items again. Again, this is simplicity's sake. Okay, so we want to say, let's say we're going to use the first day in June as the start of this one, and we're going to let this one run all the way to August. And again, we set our discount amount We set it across the board. So now, what we've done in about 3 minutes is set up 2 sales, one for February, one that covers most of summer. And we don't have to do anything. These sales simply take effect on the starting date. They stop at the ending date. So, like I say, if you know your marketing plans for the year, set up your sales ahead of time. Then, when the day comes, when it's February and we talk about Valentine's Day, when the kids are out of school and we're looking for beach portraits, all we have to do is announce that we're having a sale and it's already set up for us. Oh, I apologize. I did not cover the multiple price list. Let's go back and take a look at price listing. This is under the e-commerce section, and we're going to click on price lists. Now, this is slightly more complicated because it involves creating all of the items that will be for sale throughout the year at the same time. Now, you'll notice here I have 3 price lists. I have a global, I have a test 1, and I have a test 2. Your global price list, if you're not familiar, is what is seen by anyone who isn't in a specific event. So these are your general prices available to the public. Your other price lists are only visible when they are assigned. Now, if I want to lower my prices across the board without making it a sale during the summer, I would create 2 sets of prices. The first set of prices would be the higher prices for the rest of the year, and the second set would be the lower prices for the summer. Now, the way I would do this is I would edit. In this case, we'll assume that global is my normal prices and test 1 is my lowered summer prices. When the summer hits, I click edit on test 2 and I tick this box that sets it as my global price list. And then the very last thing we do is save changes. And if we go back to price list, we'll now notice that test 1 is at the top because it is now my global price list. Now, like I say, this is a little bit more complicated. It takes more front-end work, but it can save you from, you can change your prices without having them tagged as a sale. So you don't have to worry about people worrying about when they expire. Now, this is the I Choose You. This is targeting your website for different markets at different times of the year. Now, I've picked 3 common subjects for photographers: seniors, brides, and maternity. Now, maternity tends to be a year-round kind of thing because people tend to have children all around. Senior sessions, those tend to be very targeted. We mostly want to get them usually between the semesters when they're at home with their parents and we can get the sales through, schedule them, shoot them in the spring when everyone's, when the weather is nice and everybody's dressed up nice. Brides tend to be looking at specific times. Obviously, people can get married at any time, but there are sections of the year that are busier for brides than others. And what we do here is we combine the custom color schemes along with changing our templates. When we looked at making the custom color schemes, we used the Manhattan in both examples. Now, I use that because it's one of my favorite templates. It's very easy to work with, and it's personal preference. If we want to do a complete 180 change, say we want to go from the Manhattan template, which is a very simple template. It's got a conforming border and a menu at the top with no other flash or frills, and say we want to use that for our brides, but then we want to target seniors a little bit later. We want to go for a more edgy look, say the new Beijing template, which has what we call the Great Wall display effect and is a very flash-intensive template. We would change that note to Spring-Manhattan, Summer-Beijing, and we just know that we need to change that template to go along with our new style. Okay, hide and seek pages. All of our products offer the option to hide and or disable pages. And this is really useful for prepping galleries, information pages, anything you want to have ready, and then just pop it onto the website. You can store images for later use by hiding a gallery. You can make products and services available when you want them to be available. You can hide your services page until you're ready to use it, and then activate it for as long as you'd like. You can do a complete site redesign using our click and drag features and hidden pages. So let's go take a look at that. And for this one, we will be using the store/biz site because we're already in this control panel. Again, the Flash Plus and the HTML5s do this as well. It's just slightly different. With the Flash Plus, it's going to be under the Details tab, With the HTML5s, it'll be under the Details button, just like it is here. Now, all of our pages have this option here, Page Visibility. If it's set to visible, it means it's visible on your website. Anyone can access it. If it is set to hidden, the page does not display on your website, but by using this direct page link just below it, the page can still be accessed. This is good if you have a price list or products that you only want to be available to certain clients. Then you provide them with the direct page link. They can see the page, but a normal visitor to your website cannot. Disabled, this is specific to our HTML5 lines. Disabled means that not only is the page not displayed on your website, but it is not accessible from the front side of your website, even using that direct page link. Now I'm going to go down here and save my changes, and now we'll notice that in our list here on the left-hand side that the word welcome now has a strike through and is grayed out. The three stages are black is visible, grayed out is hidden, grayed out with a strike through is disabled. For example, let's say I wanted to have my welcome page and my extra information page, and these cover my new updated summer pricing sale list. Well, if all of my other pages are for the rest of the year, when it's time to switch over, I can go in here and disable all of my other pages. We're just going to do 2 so that everyone can get the idea. And then I move my welcome page back to the top of my list and I make it visible. So just that quickly, I have completely rearranged the front side of my website by making some pages hidden or disabled and other pages visible. Obviously, with PhotoBiz, whatever's at the top of the list is the landing page or the home page for that site, so we just like to put that at the top. Always want to make that top page visible. That way you know that it's going exactly where you expect it to. Okay, this one is blog specific. Now, a lot of people want to blog, but they're never sure about what to say, when to say it, how to do it. Generally, a good idea is post about things that you are interested in. If you are interested in it, it's much easier to write about it, and it's much easier to get people involved. When you are excited about something, your audience tends to become excited with you. Now, with the blog, you can do by week, by month, by year if you're that organized. Generally, I see blogs scheduled for about a month in advance. That way you're not caught off guard by massive life changes. Now, with this, if you know that your Mondays and Tuesdays are very slow and you've got a lot of time to write, you can write a week's worth of blog posts. And this is posting every day on those 2 days. And then using the schedule feature, have them display exactly when you want them to. Okay, again, we're back in our control panel. We're going to go to our blog tab. And as soon as everybody's with us, there we go. Okay, now we're going to add post. This is, again, standard for adding our post. This is, every blog likes to have a welcome to the blog post. We're just going to fill out the absolute minimums here, and we're going to say our post author is Andy R. because that's me. I'm going to leave everything as is. Please forgive my excessive use of the shift key there. Okay, now publishing status. If we leave it at draft, what that means is it's never going to display on the front of the website. This is something that it's a rough draft version. Now, the other option, obviously, is publish. Now, if I tell it to publish and click add post, this is going to become immediately visible on my blog. Let's say that I'm writing next week's blog because I have some time today. Well, I edit here on the publish date, and I want to, if you're noticing the weird time difference, my account is set for Australian time. That's why it's telling us that it's tomorrow already. So let's say we want to post the first week of February. So I change my date from January 30th to February 7th. And let's say I want to make sure this goes out at noon exactly. So I tell it I want it to go out at 12 p.m. on February 7th. And I click OK. Now you'll notice our publish date here tells us exactly what we set. And when we click Add Post, our blog post has been created. Okay, now when we look here at our total set of posts, we'll notice that the status for this one is scheduled. And all that tells us is that at some point in the future, under the published date, this will be made live on our blog at noon, February 7th, by our, and this is very important, it will be at noon in the time zone that your account is set to. Now you can change that under the settings menu. You can tell it what time zone you're in or what time zone you want to use, especially if you're traveling. And by doing this, you can see how we can create a week's worth of blog posts. Now, if you want to be more adventurous and schedule them out further, you can always do rough outlines. So let's say this is our summer fun time. And we just want to talk about the photography we do during the summer, and we want to go ahead and get it ahead of time. So knowing that this is a few months in advance and things have a habit of changing, we can do things like what I'm shooting with, where I'm shooting, who I'm shooting. Now, obviously, this isn't a blog post. These are just ideas for what I want to talk about when I do this. Now, we can leave this as a draft post, or if we want to put ourselves on a deadline, we can say that this blog post will go live June 1st. Okay, so by doing this, I've kind of put my own feet to the fire. Every time I come here, I see that on, and again, when you don't click Save Your Changes, this is what happens. You'll notice it happens to us too. It's very easy to forget that sometimes. If you see something like this, always go back through and just say, okay. So now that that's done, we come in here, and I see that every time I come in here, I'm going to see that on January 1st, I've got a blog going live. I better have some text in there ahead of time. Okay, so now we've made all these changes. We've rearranged our pages. We've got a new color scheme and a brand new template. What do? Absolutely crucial. If you're using a portfolio site, this is Flash, this is HTML, this is HTML5, you must click that publish button and tell the website to publish, or your changes will not be live. This is a call we get a lot, and so I just want to reiterate, if you use a portfolio site, you must publish your changes. A good thing to do when you're scheduling things out like this is use a calendar. The Google Calendar is wonderful. You can tell it that you have an important date in the future. Again, June 1st is an easy one. And you can have it send you an email reminder of what's going to happen. So if June 1st we have a sale going on that we've already scheduled, set a reminder for the week before for May 24th. Have Google email you reminding you that you have a sale going on. That way you're not surprised when you get calls about the new sale. Tell someone, your friends, your coworkers, your family, your clients. Updating your website, making sales in advance, doing all of this is pointless if we don't tell anybody. People like to see new websites. If you use featured options, people like to know that, hey, I've been featured on this website. So tell them, they tell their friends, post on Facebook, make a blog post about it. If you have emails for your former clients, email them. Just tell them, hey, I've got a new website. Let me know what you think. Or, hey, we're running a special. Check out the deals we're offering now. Even if they don't buy anything from you, if they simply go and look at your website, you're increasing your traffic to the website, which is improving your SEO, which is something that almost everybody is concerned with. Okay, that is our presentation today. I know we covered a lot of topics, and so let's hear your questions. Okay, I've got a question from Joan about the blogs. She asked if we can import a PhotoBiz blog, if we can import old post from an old blog to a PhotoBiz blog. Now, unfortunately, that is not something we were able to do. A lot of blogs have proprietary systems, and we simply were not able to create a direct import feature. You can copy the text, and if you use embedded images, copy the URLs and paste those into a new PhotoBiz blog post, but we do not have an import function. She also goes on to ask if Animoto or other videos show up in the PhotoBiz blog. They certainly do. With the blog post, you have access to the HTML, and what you would do for Animoto, Vimeo, YouTube, really any embedded content, these sites will provide you with an embed code. We take this code, we drop it into the HTML, and we can have videos display in line with our posts. What I mean by in line is they there will be your text, any of your images, and then the video will display. If they click play, it plays inside your blog. They don't have to go to YouTube. They don't have to go anywhere else. You can announce posts on Facebook as well. You can share it through Facebook using the post function. In fact, any visitor to your blog can share it through that function. Any other questions? All right, looks like we don't have too many questions today. If you do come up with a question later, or if you're trying to do anything we've covered today and you find yourself stuck, please remember you can always call our passionate support team, 866-463-7620. We're in the office Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Eastern. If you don't have the time to give us a phone call, or if it's outside of those hours, there's always a support tab at the top right-hand corner of your control panel, and you can submit a support ticket through us. This is great if, like I say, you don't have the time, or if you're just in a place where you have a real quick question, don't have time to call, send us an email, we'll email you back. All right, everyone, I'm going to turn it back over to Danny, and he's going to wrap up here, and thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you everybody, and thanks again to Andy for taking the time to put together a great presentation for us today. So we do appreciate everyone who made it out today, and we are going to be putting the webinar on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/PhotoBiz. So when you go there, be sure to check out our other webinar recordings we have online and click the subscribe button. That way you can receive updates via email whenever we upload a new webinar to our channel. So thank you again, everybody. Thanks again, Andy. And this is going to conclude our episode of PhotoBiz Live. Have a great day, everybody.